So I just got this phone call, and if you're in business for very long at all, eventually you'll get this phone call. I was sitting here in the office, and I got a message over my Facebook page. Girl, she's looking to remodel her bathroom, and long story short, she tells me that she already replaced the toilet, and she already replaced the vanity, and she wants to get an estimate as soon as possible. So I told her, give me a call and we'll talk about it over the phone. Easier that way than trying to text back and forth. So she calls me about 10 minutes later, and she's already tried to remodel her bathroom. She had the toilet replaced, she had the vanity replaced. Now she's having trouble with the floor. So right off, that's a red flag. Now, just because somebody tried to do a project and failed, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't work with them, but it can be a red flag. So I'm looking at this. She says, well, the floor is basically coming up in places. And I don't know what that means. I mean, is it tile that are popping off or whatever? So I'm trying to get into that, and she really doesn't know what the floor is even made of. So that's a red flag. She tried to remodel her bathroom, but she doesn't even know what the floor is. Um, so I get to talking to her about her project, and she wants me to come out and do an estimate, which is the whole point of this conversation. And this is why you need to talk to people on the phone about all of these things before you spend 3 hours going to their house and giving them an estimate. This is the exact reason why you need to do this. I talked to her, I got talking, trying to pull information out. What's the plan here? One of my questions that I always ask customers, and you'll hear me say this time and time again, I always ask them, have you gotten an estimate from other contractors? Because I want to hear out of their mouth what other contractors have already told them about their project, because that's going to tell me a lot about them. So she tells me, yes, she's had two other contractors out. The first one she has out gave her an estimate for 17 grand to remodel her bathroom. It included moving the tub, moving the toilet, moving the vanity. So, I mean, this estimate was for a complete gut. It was everything. I don't know what all the estimate said, but I can imagine based on the price what was involved. So she got this estimate. So obviously, getting another estimate, she thought that one was astronomically high. So that already tells me that she's not looking to spend 18 grand on this bathroom. So this is why you have this conversation. So, well, she got a second estimate. Okay, what was the second estimate? Well, I got another estimate to gut the entire bathroom for 5 grand. So that means that she got somebody, some hack or something, to give her an estimate uh, at a lowballed price. Somebody was willing to come in and hobcob the job together as best as they could in order to get to her price range. So, red flag. Big red flag. We're already throwing up flags all over the place. There's so many flags on this plate, it's just not even comprehensible why I'm still talking to her on the phone. But I'm a nice person, so I'm going to talk her through this. So turns out that she wants to do a bath fitter on her bathtub. Well, that's just a horrible idea altogether. I mean, first of all, it's a horrible product. Second of all, it costs twice as much as doing it correctly. I don't know why anybody would ever buy bath fitter except for they went in and got sold. Um, I hate that company. Anyway, so she's getting all of these prices from all over the place. Well, it turns out she talked to the person who gave her the estimate for 5 grand, and she wanted to move a couple of things around. So that estimate in the end landed at 7.5. So I keep on talking. I'm pulling out information as we're going, so no reason to stop here. These are all red flags, but at this point, there's no definite reason why I can't do this job. These are all barriers that I can get over. Um, I'm fairly experienced. I'm not the best out there for by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm a fairly experienced salesperson in the construction industry. So these are barriers that I can work with. It's not optimal, but you don't always get optimal. You don't always get what you want. So I'm pulling more information out, and it turns out that this is a relative that gave her this estimate, and that's part of why it was so low. And so I'm already looking at, look, I'm 80% chance I'm not going to sell this job. So I'm going to give you some personal advice. Don't hire a relative. Now, some people get away with working with relatives. Um, they're the exception and not the rule. I would say that 9 out of 10 times working with a relative goes bad. And I told her as much. You don't want to hire a relative. This is not something that you want to do. And I told her that, and she seemed to agree with me. And this is when the truth came out. And the truth is that she thought that that estimate for 7.5 was too high, and that a lot of people told her that that was way too much money, and she wanted another opinion from somebody, another estimate from somebody to tell her whether or not that that estimate was out of the ballpark and just too high, because she thought her relative was trying to rip her off. By talking to her on the phone for 10 minutes or whatever it was I spent on the phone, I was able to pull that information out, and now I know not waste my time 3-4 hours of my day going out and doing an estimate. This estimate would have been 3 to 4 hours by the time I'm done driving there, spending time there, talking through processes and all of that stuff. That would have been 3 or 4 hours that I would have wasted instead of 10 minutes on the phone. So by spending the time on the phone and by talking about money and by sitting there and just spending the time dragging the information out of the person instead of just making an appointment and going over there, I was able to drag that information out, and I saved myself 4 hours. That's why you must do some semblance of conversation on the phone, some semblance of vetting and an interview over the phone, so that you know, is this a customer you even want to waste 4 hours doing an estimate on? And this is why people who just make appointments willy-nilly or get leads that are unfettered leads from lead services, or even from your own Facebook or Google AdWords or whatever it is, wherever you get these leads, if you don't spend 10 minutes on the phone figuring out whether this person is actually interested in buying from you or not, you will waste 4 hours per customer of your time. That's 4 hours per customer, 4 hours per lead you will waste with leads that are already not going anywhere. And so the whole point of this video, do not waste your time with these customers. Spend 10 minutes on the phone, invest that 10 minutes, and you will spend hours and hours and hours. My time is worth $100 an hour. I'm never going to get that $400 it would have taken if I hadn't spent 10 minutes on the phone. I'm never going to get that money. You're not going to get it. So if my time's worth $100 an hour, I just saved myself $400. This is why you talk to people on the phone. This is why you vet customers. This is a perfect example. I couldn't come up with a better example. This has to be real, because there's no way that I could have invented this. It was so perfect. So guys, vet your customers. Talk to them on the phone for 10 minutes, and you will save yourself so much time every day, every week, every year. So much time.